Liverpool finally win a Premier League game of football thanks to goals from Alexander Isak and Cody Gakpo as the Reds, on an away day in the capital, beat West Ham by 2-0. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video / live stream. Apologies for being late this morning. A couple of technical issues that I ran into. But I hope we're all doing very well on this Monday morning. I hope we're all okay. Big up to each and every single one of you that is here so far on this Monday morning. I hope we're all doing very well. I hope we're all okay. Let me know where you're watching from today. Let me know today. What is a big week for Premier League football. Big week Premier League football. We've got a big midweek clash for every Premier League team. We've also got big games at the end of the week as well. So I hope we're all looking forward to that. A lot of football for us to sink our teeth into and to feast our eyes upon, as December is now upon us. Christmas is almost here. The New Year's almost here. Massive times ahead. But I hope we're doing very well. We're obviously in a much better mood, much better spirits this morning because obviously Liverpool finally won a game of football. We're going to be talking mostly about that today. But of course, like always with these videos, make sure you're hitting the like button, subscribing, and of course getting involved in the chat, as a couple of you are right now. We're going to get to your comments in just a second. But obviously, mostly we're talking Liverpool, but if you want to talk anything else, whether it be outside of football or inside of football, whatever it may be, let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling this morning. Let me know where you're watching from. Like I say, let me know what you're doing today or anything along them lines. Would be really greatly appreciated. Hope we're all doing very well on the road to 1K, looking to try and hit 1K subs by the end of the year. So hopefully that goes well. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but hopefully it does. Big up Abdul, who's already in the building early this morning. He says, good morning, Captain Fletch. Smash the like and subscribe. Big up to you, Abdul. Lovely that you're here, my bro. Thank you for being here already on this Monday morning. He goes on to say that West Ham 0, Liverpool 2. We need to get consistent winning run from now on and until the end of the season. And you're absolutely right. We've got a good opportunity of doing that this week. We've got Sunderland on Wednesday, and of course we've got Leeds at the weekend. So we've got a good opportunity of doing that. But of course, Sunderland are going to be no easy opponent. So it is going to be difficult for Sunderland. Leeds should be more favourable, of course, but Sunderland is going to be very, very difficult. So there's a good opportunity to do it, but at the same time, it is not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. Big up to Luca Talks Dons. Hope you're doing well, my bro. Lovely to have you here with us. Good on your prediction, by the way, yesterday. Good on your prediction yesterday for the Arsenal-Chelsea game. I think you did predict 1-1. So fair play to you, my bro. Fair play to you for that prediction. I hope you're doing well, my bro. Go and subscribe to Luca Talks Dons. He's doing some really cool stuff over on his channel. MK Dons fan, but is also an Arsenal fan as well. Does a lot of vlog work for his MK Don stuff, but also does talk the occasional stuff with Arsenal. Either way, if you want to broaden your footballing horizons, or if you want to just hear more on his particular takes, and obviously from his kind of community, then go and show some love and support to my bro Luca, doing some awesome stuff. It says that Liverpool, are you in a title race now? Premier League, everyone, all close. No, I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm not saying we're in a title race. Like I say, it would still take a big drop off from Arsenal, and it would take also a bit of a drop off from obviously Chelsea and City for Liverpool to close that gap. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I know it was one win. I know that obviously there's still a long way to go. There's still a long, long way to go. And with all due respect, it was only against West Ham. With all due respect, it was only against West Ham. We know that West Ham are relegation candidates. But in saying that, we did lose to Nottingham Forest last week, and we were expecting that to be a win for Liverpool as well. So maybe there is something that we can take from this in terms of confidence going forward. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We were at this point about a month or so ago when we beat Aston Villa and we beat Real Madrid, and some of us started to get giddy and some of us were keeping our feet on the ground. I was very much in the keeping our feet on the ground camp at that time. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves in terms of talking about, maybe Liverpool are back, maybe Liverpool are in a title race and all of that stuff. Let's just keep our feet firmly on the ground in this. What's your aims for this season? Personally, for me, I'm looking at Champions League and top 5. They're our aims for this season. Keep things ticking over in terms of the engine running and the players' legs and that kind of thing. Strike up more of a bond with the players and a more united front in the team, and go for the Champions League. That's what we have to do right now, because, like I said, I think the Premier League is over and done with. But that's not to say that obviously we can build something for future years in terms of the Premier League. Obviously, like I said, there's been a lot of changeover, a lot of change in the squad and all of that stuff with the team. So there's still a bond to be built there with everybody involved. But there's no doubt that we can still go for the Champions League. That's still a big possibility for us. And obviously, if we continue to build from this point, maybe this could be the turning point. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a one-off result. Only time will tell. But like I say, I'm still very much in the slot out camp right now. But that's not to suggest in any way, shape, or form that he can't turn this around. Because a lot of what you saw yesterday with Liverpool is what I've been screaming and shouting in live streams and videos like this for all season. Most of what he changed yesterday and why it kind of worked was why most of what I've been saying all season is mostly what he did yesterday. And look at the result. We actually won. I also think partially because I actually put Liverpool to lose in my predictions videos. There's kind of like a bit of reverse psychology there because I did it when we beat Aston Villa. I said that we'd lose to Villa. We won that game. I put that we'd lose to West Ham. We beat West Ham. So I might just see if that's going. I might just predict us to lose to Sunderland and Leeds and see if that obviously continues. But no, like I say, continuing to build the bond of these players, continuing to build for the future. I hope Arne Slot in some way can turn it around. I don't necessarily think he can completely. But obviously, I hope to be proven wrong. And that's why I hope that the Champions League is going to be on the horizon later on down the line. But we shall see. Big up, Captain Flash. How are you? Smash the like and subscribe, people. Yeah, big up to you. And please keep doing that, people. Really, really appreciate each and every single one of you. And good, man. I hope you are doing well as well. It says, hello, everyone. How are we today? Please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Yeah, big up to you, my bro. Lovely to have you here. We need to achieve a series of consecutive victories. 120% agree with you. We need to go on a winning run. Goes without saying, my dude. Goes without saying. Daniel Falcon on his slot under pressure. As head coaches, you could probably throw Thomas Frank in there as well. Thomas Frank's under pressure, especially after this past weekend. Super double yellow card that turned into a red card by Paqueta. It really was a strange one. I was going to save it for later on in the video in the stream, but it really was a strange one from Paqueta, wasn't it? I mean, as a sort of thrown out there sort of banter comment, I could basically say that maybe Paqueta had a bet on him getting sent off in the game. I know obviously he's been through a horrible time. I don't really want to kind of pile on with that, but I just kind of wanted to throw it out there as a bit of a banter comment that maybe he did actually put a bet on himself to get red carded. But no, it really was he just completely lost it, didn't he? He just completely lost it in a moment that I don't necessarily think required him to lose it. It wasn't like, Szoboszlai dived. It wasn't like the foul wasn't a foul. It was just one of them ones where it was a challenge. It went over. Referee blows up. You just move on and you get on with the game. And yet Paqueta went on and on and on and on and on. And even when 3 of his own players tried to separate him from the referee, and even Alisson Becker, to be fair to him, even attempted to try and separate Paqueta from the referee. He just wasn't having any of it. And he kept on going on and on and on and on and on. And yeah, eventually the referee just had enough and just gave him a second yellow card and was done with him. Like, we've seen a couple of bizarre red cards this week. I mean, the one obviously in the Everton-Manchester United game is obviously being the prime example. But that one was just so strange. So strange. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely do not know. It was so weird. And you never know. Those kind of things obviously could come back to haunt a team. Like, obviously, he's now going to be missing for West Ham's game against Manchester United on Thursday. So that's going to harm his team then. You never know if, obviously, West Ham, they may have got an opportunity later on in the game. Because at the time, it was still 1-0 Liverpool. So they might have got an opportunity to get back into the game later on with through someone like Paqueta. You never know. But yeah, it was so dumb of Paqueta. Like, there was just no need for him to persist with arguing, but yet he just wanted to. He just wanted to keep going on. And yeah, I think under various disciplinary and dissent laws of the game, the referee was only too right to send him off. It was so stupid from him. Unbelievable. Good to see Mohamed Salah dropped. I mean, that was the biggest eyebrow raiser before the ball was even kicked yesterday, is the fact that Mo Salah was dropped. I was personally under the impression that if anybody was to be dropped, it probably would have been Gakpo. Probably should have been Gakpo. Obviously, Gakpo gets a goal and an assist yesterday. So, what the hell do I know? But no, I understand why Mo Salah at his age can't be playing the kind of games that we've got coming up at like a 3 to 4 day period between them. And though obviously AFCON's coming up as well and everything. So, yeah, that's going to be big as well. And it's also big for the team as well, because I think the team needed this. The team needed to sort of prove to themselves that they didn't need Mo Salah to help them through certain games. They could get through certain games without Mo Salah, because that's obviously going to be the reality of the situation very, very soon. So I do think there was kind of a little bit of that element that played into account as well. But yeah, I felt it was a big gamble by Slot, but it paid off, and it paid off in a big way because obviously the person who he dropped him for, Florian Wirtz, had a very, very, very good game. Very good game. Probably his best game in a Liverpool shirt without recording or registering a goal or an assist. That was probably the only thing that was lacking from Florian Wirtz's game yesterday. And that's where we're going to really begin with this review of yesterday's game, is with Mr. Florian Wirtz. Because, like I say, I felt yesterday he had a great game. He was one of the standout performers of yesterday in a game in which I don't think it was the most scintillating or the best of performances from Liverpool, but it was very, very good from everybody involved. I don't really think anybody had a bit of a stinker. I don't think anybody was poor on the day. I just think that Florian Wirtz was one of maybe 2-3 players that stood out above the rest. Wirtz was everywhere. Wirtz was wanting to be involved. He never shied away once. He just wanted to be involved. He was like a kid in a playground playing football. He was just absolutely relishing the opportunity presented before him. And I go back to what I've been saying all season. Play Florian Wirtz in the centre behind Alexander Isak. And look what happens. Wirtz and Ekitike. As much as I love Ekitike and as much as I have enjoyed watching Ekitike flourish this season, the two just don't necessarily work together unless Wirtz is pulling out to one side or the other. Because Ekitike likes to drop deep, which means he's occupying similar spaces to what Wirtz would like to occupy, which means then Wirtz is dropping deep into midfield, which means he's getting in the way of the likes of McAllister and Gravenberch, which means whenever they get the ball and look forward, all they've really got to hit is Ekitike, and the kind of attacks kind of break down from there. Look what happens when Wirtz is given the freedom to go and express himself. Look what happens when the team works around him for the best of Florian Wirtz to shine through. It works. And that's not a knock on Ekitike. Like I say, you can get Ekitike and Wirtz in this team, but you need obviously to pull Wirtz one side or the other. But it just so works much better when you've got Wirtz in the centre and Isak up front. You've got a striker that wants to spin off into spaces beyond the defence. You've got a player that wants to just link up play and also try and find that said striker. It just works. I've been saying it all season long. We need to see this partnership blossom. We need to see this partnership worked on more and more and more to be allowed to again flourish and grow. And yesterday we saw more glimpses of that. Wasn't perfect, but I wasn't expecting it to be perfect because they barely played with each other. But right now, in that moment, it was working yesterday. Wirtz found Isak plenty of times. Wirtz had a very good passing percentage. Wirtz had a very good passing percentage in the second, in the opposition half, shall we say. It just worked. It worked, and it's been what I have been crying out for so long. I just want to see this partnership blossom. And yesterday, I felt like we were on the cusp of something. Yesterday, I felt like, okay, this is it. Run with this now. It's going to be harsh on Ekitike, but we've got some big games coming up. And like I also say, Gakpo's not going to be able to play in all of them as well. So maybe just pull Ekitike to the left, Wirtz in the middle, Isak up front. Because then the fluidity and the movement of those three especially will cause defences all sorts of problems. The tools are there. It's just Arne Slot has not been using them to the best of their ability all season so far. I'm hoping that yesterday, him changing a few things may go on to prove me wrong and to prove a lot of others wrong. And maybe we can go on a good, consistent run now. And maybe it's about Arne Slot finally waking up and realizing, oh, I have different players. Oh, I can use them differently. Oh, it doesn't exactly suit my ideals, my philosophies, my tactics, and all of that stuff. But if I change and I adapt and I'm flexible enough and I evolve my personal beliefs in this game, maybe it's for the good and the improvement of Liverpool Football Club. And with all due respect, that is the bottom line. That is what we need from our manager, not someone who's going to be stubborn as he has been for the majority of this season, to the point where, because he's being stubborn, we are losing games and losing games at a rapid and consistent rate. Hopefully this is the beginning of change, but only time will tell on that. Big up Nick, who's in the building. Hope you're doing well, my bro. Lovely to have you here with us on this Monday morning. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Big up to you. But yes, Florian Wirtz yesterday was very, very good. As was one of our goal scorers, Alexander Isak. Brilliant finish. That's where we're going to start off with. A brilliant, brilliant finish from Alexander Isak yesterday. A proper, instinctive, precise, precision-based finish from the Swedish striker yesterday. Very good build-up play initially. Florian Wirtz with a pre-assist again. For those of you who know, I did predict that Florian Wirtz will get a lot of pre-assists this season, which I know technically is not a thing, but I did say that this season I think Florian Wirtz will get a lot of pre-assists, which is the pass before the assist, which sometimes can be, in my opinion, the most dangerous pass of them all. But it was a very good piece of play by Wirtz. Good cutback from Gakpo, and a lovely, instinctive, precise finish from Alexander Isak. It was awesome. It was an awesome finish. And I hope that will be the catalyst, the ignition point for Alexander Isak to have liftoff. I'm hoping that this will be the moment that he looks back on and goes, this is where I announced my arrival. I'm hoping that this will be the moment in which he goes on a good, consistent goal-scoring run. I'm hoping that that's the case. I am really hoping that is the case, because I thought his overall performance yesterday was very much improved. I think, like I say, he looked more comfortable with a playmaker around him that was sort of understanding his game a little bit more. It was very, very good. It was very, very good from Isak. It was very, very good all round. And I'm very much happy that he gets his first Premier League goal in Liverpool colours. I'm very happy that he opens that kind of goal-scoring account for himself. And I'm happy for the rest of the players as well. He's been very happy for him as well. So, big up to Alexander Isak. Very good finish. Very good play. I would like to have seen a little bit more from him in terms of playing time. I understand, obviously, we're managing him and it's his minutes. And, you know, Arne Slot's looking at the bigger picture of the amount of games we've got coming up between now and the end of December and even the beginning of January. But I'd like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see a little bit more from him, with obviously Ekatike's influence in the side as well. But I understand why. I understand why we didn't get to see more of it. But yeah, I'm happy about that. I'm happy that that was the case. Cody Gakpo, like I say, goal and assist yesterday, improved his GA for the season. So can't really complain or go wrong there. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say on Cody Gakpo front, but yeah, very obviously that will probably do his confidence the world of good as well. And that's really what it comes down to, confidence, isn't it? Because as much as I want to wax lyrical about all of these players, and there's one or two more that we're going to get into before I go off on this tangent. After I go on this tangent. It was all about confidence. Because it wasn't the most confident performance from Liverpool yesterday. It wasn't the best of performances from Liverpool. We've seen them perform better. We've seen them do better. But overall, this was a game that just needed a win. We needed to win. After what has been a horrible week in terms of losing to Nottingham Forest, losing heavily to PSV, we needed to go, and away from home, by the way, to West Ham, who had just hit a little bit of decent form, 3 games unbeaten, a manager that knows Arne Slot well from last season, and a manager that obviously has beaten Arne Slot in the past. We needed to go away from home, awkward ground, awkward stadium at times, and we needed to find a way to win. And that's exactly what we did. Everything just went well. And why did it go well? Because Arne Slot adapted yesterday. Arne Slot changed a few things yesterday for the better. Whether it was, in a way, dropping Mo Salah and putting in Florian Wirtz, who was partnering up with Isak. It worked. What also worked yesterday, he put Kirkes more out wide. Who would have thought that putting one of the best fullbacks, wingbacks in the Premier League wide left rather than inverted, who would have thought that would have made him look a million times better than what he has been looking like so far this season? Who would have thought that apart from anybody watching Liverpool Football Club or who watched Bournemouth last season? Kirkes, for as good as he is, cannot play inverted. It just is not his strong suit whatsoever. He is a great wingback who has got a brilliant left foot, who should be used as an outlet on that left-hand side and should be bombing down that left to overlap for Cody Gakpo for when he likes to do his little cut inside and have a shot on goal kind of thing. That is what should be happening. None of this inverted stuff on that left-hand side. Kirkes should be the one to bomb forward. And then on the other side, Joe Gomez was there. And I have been screaming out. All season long for Joe freaking Gomez to play, to start, whether it's in place of Ibrahim Konate or whether it's at right back, because as good as what Dominic Szoboszlai has been at being a good little soldier and filling in wherever he needs to, we need him further up the pitch than right back. For as much as I respect Curtis Jones for taking on the right back role at times, he's not a right back. And for as much as obviously Connor Bradley has stepped up at certain times, and Jeremy Frimpong's been there, not as much as I would have liked, but every so often. The one player that I've wanted to see there has been Joe Gomez. Why? Because if Slot continues to persist on playing this inverted fullback stuff, which is only made good, by the way, if you have a centre-back or more natural centre-back playing in those positions. Hence why Arsenal do it all the freaking time, by the way, because Calafiori is more of a natural and usual centre-back than he is a left-back. But it works because then he can play a slightly more inverted role. Hence why Jurrien Timber is more of a centre-back, but plays that kind of inverted full-back position as well. Guess what Joe Gomez is? He's a more natural centre-back than he is a full-back. So when you play him at right-back, because he's got the knowledge there, because he can play there, because he has played there before, he is more of a natural centre-back, which means you can play him slightly more inverted. And therefore, the inverted fullback on that particular side, on that position works. And therefore, it allows you to play with, therefore, three at the back when you're in possession. And Kirkes can then bomb forward. Who would have thought it? If he continued to play that kind of thing, who on God's earth would have thought it apart from anybody with half a footballing brain? All of this stuff has been said by me, and I'm not just taking credit for me, but there have been many others that have called out for this, wanted this, said that this needs to change, said that needs to change. And like I say, yesterday, those people, myself included, were treated to seeing all of that in action. And it worked. It worked yesterday. It wasn't the most confident of performances. It wasn't the best. We've seen better. But you know what? We will take it from the absolute car crash of a season that it has been so far, and from the absolute train wreck of a week that until yesterday we had suffered with at the hands of both Nottingham Forest and PSV. We will take it. And that is why Joe Gomez, for me, was the man of the match yesterday. He was the man of the match. Thought he was brilliant. Thought Wirtz was brilliant. Isak takes his goal well. Gakpo with a goal and an assist to put to his name. Even Konate had a good game yesterday. I told you, I don't do agendas here. I called out Konate multiple times. I'm hoping that Konate can now turn his fortune and his games around now that this whole Real Madrid fiasco is gone. I know his contract and his future is still very much up in the air at Liverpool. But at the same time, I'm hoping that now that Real Madrid is a distant memory, maybe we can start to see Konate earn his way back in favour at Liverpool with the fan base and, of course, the club, who he is probably trying to convince right now to actually sign to a new deal with. So hopefully that is the case. Hopefully that is the case with Konate. But I thought Konate was actually good yesterday. And I've not said that too often this season. So, yes, big old Konate. There's no agendas here. If I call you out, it's probably through, in my opinion, a good reason. And if I praise you, again, it's probably through my opinion, a very good reason. I praise Wirtz, I praise Gomez, praised Gakpo even a little bit, and I praised Isak. And I've obviously now just praised Konate for what I believe to be a decent performance yesterday, a strong performance, one that he can hopefully build upon, and we can get better for this season. Because that's what I want. I'm not agenda driven. As much as I am in the camp of Arnie slot out still, and I still am. Yesterday's performance doesn't make me flip-flop back to the side of obviously slot in, slot out, and all of that stuff. And those conversations, by the way, can be saved for later on this week when we do face Sunderland, when we do face Leeds. We can have maybe we can have a conversation towards the end of those games, or even at the end of December going into the new year. Depending on obviously how this week goes, maybe next week goes, whatever. But at the same time, as much as I am still in the Arnie slot out camp, I don't want us to just lose games of football in order for me to be proven right. I don't want us to lose games of football for my agenda to be seen through to benefit my views and my opinions. At the end of the day, I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm happy that Liverpool won yesterday. I'm buzzing. I was buzzing yesterday. I couldn't believe it at first that we were winning the game and that we actually did go on to win the game. But we did. And I'm very, very happy for that. I'm very happy for that. I'm very happy to pick up the 3 points yesterday. I'm very happy that we climbed the table a little bit and we got a bit of confidence back into the side, and much needed confidence as well, considering the massive week that's coming up and the massive month ahead. Very much needed, very much wanted, and very much welcome. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Liverpool fan and I want what's best for Liverpool Football Club. And if that means that Arnie Slot proves me wrong, if that means that Arnie Slot goes on to turn things around going forward, if that means that Arnie Slot is going to be someone that is going to, in the second half of this season, make me look like an idiot by winning us our 7th Champions League, maybe an FA Cup to boot, getting us into the top 4/top 5, then so freaking be it. I want to look back on this season and go, you know what? Slot has made me look like a right muppet. Because if it benefits Liverpool, I win anyway, so it doesn't matter if my footballing opinion was wrong. Certain people want to be proven more right than to see the bigger picture of their team succeed. That is the modern day football fan of 2025, people, and it's absolutely disgusting. A lot of people right now, I'll just use this as an example. A lot of people right now are probably scared that Arsenal and Mikel Arteta are probably going to go on and win the league this season. And a lot of those people that are scared may be even those that are in their own fan base that have been Arteta out for years. Because certain football fans in 2025, for whatever reason, even if their teams are the ones succeeding, are more on the track of wanting to be right in their footballing opinion than they are for their own team to succeed. And if they are harsher on their own team, it still doesn't outweigh the fact that they want to be right rather than succeed. And that is the modern day football fan of 2025. And to those people, you are morons. You are idiots. You are completely stupid. We all get predictions wrong. Go and check my predictions videos. Like, most of them are wrong every week. I don't even think I got one right this weekend. I don't think I did anyway. I might have got one right. I don't know. I might have got one scoreline right. I got a couple of results right, I think. But for the most part, I probably don't get them right every week. Who cares? Who cares? We all get things wrong. We all get things right. We all get things wrong. We're more wrong than right. You only have to, unless you're a Nostradamus who's got a crystal ball, the chances are we get most things wrong when we predict stuff, especially within football. No one cares. You take the L, you take a bit of banter, you move on. Because next week, you're probably going to be right and your mate's probably going to be wrong. So the banter that your mate was giving you the previous week, you just give back to him the next week. No one cares. No one cares about right or wrong. No one cares about that. Just move on. Just move on and stop being idiots. The football fan of 2025 is genuinely stupid. Nick says Liverpool are the most consistent in losing games so far. I mean, we're the most consistent in terms of winning or losing games, to be fair. We've now got 7 wins and 6 losses in the Premier League. We don't draw. We haven't drawn any games. But it probably means that this week we are probably going to go 7-7 against Sunderland, and then 8-7, whether it's 8-7 in terms of wins to losses or 7-8 in terms of wins to losses. I don't know, but consistently inconsistent is the best way I describe it. It's been a yo-yo of a season so far. We did look better yesterday. I do agree with you. We did look better yesterday. Like I say, wasn't the best of performances, but we definitely did look better. Now, we have to obviously caveat that a little bit with it is only West Ham. And I say that with the biggest of respect to West Ham. There's a reason you're near the bottom of the table battling relegation. We have to caveat that with that a little bit, that it was only West Ham, right? However, you still have to beat whatever's in front of you. And a lot of us last weekend were saying the same thing about Nottingham Forest. And of course, look how that turned out. So there are, again, caveats to all of these things. And West Ham, Forest, PSV, it's been a roller coaster of a week. I'm glad it ended on the high note of a win. I'm hoping that this can be the turning point. But like I say, I am not getting ahead of myself by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying we're in a title race. I'm not saying that Liverpool are back. I'm not saying that Isak's going to go on to now challenge Haaland for the Golden Boot. I'm not saying anything along those lines. I am simply saying that I'm hoping this will be the catalyst for our season. I hope we look back and go, this was the turning point for our season. Whether it's going to be or whether it's not remains to be seen. There's still a long way to go. But I'm enjoying the win for what it was. I'm enjoying the moment for what it was. I'm enjoying Isak finally scoring his first Premier League goal, getting that kind of weight off his shoulders. I'm happy, man. I'm happy. I'm cautious, but I'm happy. Do you think Liverpool will make top 4? Top 4/top 5. I'm hoping that obviously the Premier League gets that coefficient spot again for the top 5 to go into the Champions League for next season, just in case, obviously, things don't quite go according to plan. But the upside for Liverpool right now is that we are in a large cluster of teams that are very inconsistent in terms of one win shoots us right up the table. But at the same time, one loss will see us drop right the way down. I mean, look at Spurs. Spurs a couple of weeks ago were right in the thick of it with like top 6. A couple of weeks later, when they lose a couple of games, they drop right the way down and they're 13th. But again, a couple more wins later, they could shoot right back up to the top 6, top 7. It's really anybody's game right now outside of the top 2/top 3. Outside of the top 3, it's anybody's game. Top 4 and 4th and beyond, it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game. Do I think we can make top 4, top 5? I've got no reason to doubt we can't. But like I say, it's going to take Slot to be consistent in a good way when it comes to setting up his team. It's going to take Slot to be consistent in a good way when it comes to going against what he believes in. Because what he's believed in so far, just simply put, has not worked. And when he's gone back on his own tactics and beliefs, we've looked so much more comfortable in ourselves and as a team, whether it be individuals or as the overall team. We look so much better. We didn't play the kind of Arne Slot style against Villa or against Real Madrid or against Frankfurt or even Atletico at times. And those were probably our best performances. Those were probably consistently over the course of 90 odd minutes, our best performances of the season. Why? Because Slot wasn't trying to make us something we're not. Because Slot was not trying to make us play a style of football that we weren't accustomed to, used to, or comfortable with. He actually decided to go a little bit back to last season. There were a few tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it was like last season. And that's what made Slot great. That's what made Liverpool great. And that's what made us Premier League champions. So with all due respect to Arne Slot, your style of play doesn't work with these players for the most part. I'm not saying that there won't be maybe the odd game or two where maybe you could throw in your style of play and see if it works. But just go back to last season. Just go back to making these players as comfortable as possible. Don't make someone like Alexis McAllister, who's used to dictating tempo, dictating the play, keeping things moving. Don't make him a runner. Don't make him run up and down the pitch for 90 odd minutes, but then try and get Szoboszlai to do the other thing. Don't get Ryan Gravenberch to be something he's not. Don't get Mo Salah to be something he's not. Don't get Cody Gakpo, Isak, Wirtz, whoever it is, Kirkes, Gomez, Kanate, Van Dijk, whoever it is, don't get them to be something they're not. Play to their strengths, hide their weaknesses. That's exactly what you did last season. That's exactly why we became Premier League champions, because you did that to absolute pretty much perfection last season. This season, you decided to throw that all out the window and go with what you believe in. And with all due respect to your principles, your tactics, your tactical nuance, or whatever you want to call it, it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, and it probably won't work because it doesn't suit these players. But what you did yesterday, what you did against Frankfurt, what you did against Real Madrid, what you did against Aston Villa, what you did against Bournemouth for about 80 of the 90 odd minutes, Atletico, first half against Everton. More of that, please. More of that, please. Love it. Bill Christian, who's in the building. Lovely to have you here, my bro. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Glad that you are with us on this Monday morning. Hope the beginning of your week is good. Yesterday's result was more of an indictment of Slot, bench Salah, started Gomez, and we played better. I mean, a lot of us have been, like I say, a lot of us had kind of advocated for Gomez to start, whether it be in place of Ibrahima Konate or whether it be on that right-hand side. A lot of us said that we should play Gomez. The Salah one has obviously caused a bit of a divide in the Liverpool fan base. I feel like some are saying that we should be benching Salah. Some are saying that we should have started Salah. Obviously, it worked yesterday. But was that out of tactics? Was that out of just rotation? I personally think it was rotation. I think he'll be back for Sunderland. But I think maybe the game's rest, maybe Salah seeing things from the sidelines will give him more of a perspective. And again, if obviously we play more to his strengths rather than his weaknesses, maybe that will obviously see us hopefully try and rediscover the kind of form that Mo Salah was showing last season. We know he's not the same player. We know there's going to be a slight natural decline with obviously being a year older and that kind of stuff. But there's no doubt about it that we looked better yesterday through the slight tweaks to the style, slight tweaks to the formation, and slight tweaks to the personnel. It really did work. It really did work yesterday. I don't necessarily believe it was basically purely based on Salah. But I did think it was a gamble worth taking by Arne Slot. I think he had to drop one of them, whether it was him or whether it was Gakpo. I really did feel like one of them had to be dropped yesterday. At least one of them had to be dropped yesterday. And like I say, I think it suits us well going into this busy period and obviously going into a period where Mo Salah is going to be off with Egypt at the African Cup of Nations. It proves that we can win without Salah. It proves that we can look somewhat good without Salah. Again, with all due respect, it is only West Ham, but you have to still beat what's in front of you. And like I say, we've not done that so far this season on multiple accounts. You know, we lost to Brentford. We lost to Nottingham Forest. We lost to PSV. We've lost to Galatasaray. These are the kinds of games in which we were expected to win. We didn't do that. So we can say it's just West Ham, but with a team that has been lacking so much confidence in recent weeks, this needed to happen. This definitely needed to happen. Tactics yesterday was still the same. Slot got Liverpool being positive against West Ham. We go 1-0 and set up in a mid to low block. Well, we done this a lot last season. Slot is a terrible, terrible manager. I mean, there were a few tweaks yesterday. I wouldn't say it was completely the same yesterday. Like I say, I feel like when you put Gomez as the more natural right back, and when you want to play more inverted fullbacks, Gomez is the way to go because obviously he's a bit more of a natural centre back than he is a fullback. So if you want to go with the whole inverted thing, you're better off going with a more natural centre back than you are a fullback, like he was trying to do with Kirkez. So that kind of worked yesterday. I think it worked, obviously, playing the different combinations and personnel. So it worked playing Wirtz with Isak, as I've been calling out for all season, rather than Wirtz and Ekitike. Still think there's a place that you can play Ekitike alongside Wirtz. But like I say, you need one to be on the wing rather than constantly getting in each other's way. So I do think there were a few tactical tweaks yesterday that we saw. I don't think he's a terrible, terrible manager. I just don't think that his tactics suit this current group of players that we have right now. I think Slot is much better being the underdog than he is being the favourite. I've said that time and time again this season. I think he's much better punching up than he is punching down. I don't think he's a terrible, terrible manager, but if that's your take, then you're entitled to your own opinion, my bro. I do appreciate the talk, the chat, the comment, and everything that you've thrown at me so far. Big up Marco's in the building. Lovely to have you here, my bro. Great to have you here on this Monday morning. Hope you're doing well. That finish from Isak was world class, actually. It seemed like a normal goal, but he took it so fast in the corner. World class. Yeah, it was a very, very good finish. A very, very good finish. It was a very precise finish as well from Alexander Isak. To get it, to squeeze it in that near post between the goalkeeper and the post. Very difficult to do. He took it really, really well. Very sharp to take it the way that he did. But yeah, I 100% agree with you, bro. Like, it was a very, very good finish. Very precise in that corner. I think Ekitike should accept he is a standing striker for Liverpool. No minutes for him unless Isak is injured. No subbing Isak off in the 60th minute all the time for Ekitike. I don't know. I feel like in some cases, some games may require Ekitike more than Isak. I think in games where you kind of want to overload the midfield, I feel like Ekitike might be the way to go. But in games in which maybe you are on the ascendancy and maybe you do need a striker that is going to be just lethal in the box, you can go with Isak. You can also go with two up front, I believe. I really do feel like there is an opportunity there for Liverpool to go a little bit old school, go two up top. You could also play Ekitike in a slightly modified position, whether it be behind the striker or whether it be from the left. You could play Wirtz off the left. You could play Wirtz off the right a little bit in a more sort of narrow, inverted number 10 kind of position. More narrow wing position. There's a lot you can do with those three in particular. Not even throwing in Gakpo or Salah or whoever or whoever else. But there's a lot you can do with that. Obviously, Ekitike, if you were to look at it solely as he's a striker, Isak's a striker, who do you start? Then maybe, yes. Maybe you would say Ekitike should accept the fact that he's the secondary standing striker. But that isn't to say that he has to wait for his moment over Isak. I think there are certain games that will call for Ekitike, and there are most games that will probably call for Isak. But that isn't to say, again, that Ekitike can't modify his game to play around Isak and the two can't play together. Because they can. They very much can. We've seen enough mobility and adaptability from Ekitike that he can play alongside Wirtz. He can play alongside Isak. You obviously have to play it somewhat more specifically than you would just by throwing them naturally out there. But we all know that Isak can be a little injury prone and he needs to be managed properly. And that's why subbing Isak off, as much as I wanted to see a bit more from him yesterday in terms of minutes, I can understand why we would take him off with 20, 25 minutes to go or whatever it was. Because obviously, like I say, we've got some big games coming up. So I get it. I like that we've got two very dangerous strikers. I like the fact that we have got difference in approach, difference in styles, difference in two strikers that are a little bit different than each other, have similarities, but one likes to drop a little deeper and link up play in Ekatike. One likes to be on the last man of the back line in order to spin off, get into spaces, and get goals. I like that we've got that versatility about us now, especially in that final third, because before, I know that we had difference with, Jota and Darwin Núñez. There was a bit of difference there, and Luis Diaz, if you wanted to throw him in there as well. I know that we had difference, but I don't think we had the level of finishing that these two are showing. With all due respect, like Diogo Jota was, God rest his soul, he was a fantastic finisher. But he didn't necessarily have the pace of a Darwin Núñez. He had the mobility, he had the movement, but he didn't have the pace of Núñez. He wasn't the paciest. Whereas Núñez was obviously nicknamed Captain Chaos. Núñez was obviously a very pacey striker, very physical striker. He had things that Jota somewhat lacked, but he didn't have Jota's finishing. If he had Jota's finishing, he'd be a much better striker than what he actually is and was. Right now, we've got two strikers that, in my opinion, are very similar, but in the weaknesses of these two, they have good attributes in the other. The mobility of Ekatike, the work rate, the movement, the skill. It's not necessarily something that Isak has, but Isak's the more deadly finisher, in my opinion. Isak is the more proven. Isak's the more polished version, is what I've been saying all summer long when talking about these two. He's the more polished version of Ekatike, and Ekatike can get to that level. And I think working with Isak and learning from him, he might even get to that level of Isak one day. But they can work. They can work, and I'm sure they will work. Sorry to say, the team is better without Salah. He can go to Saudi. I don't know. Let's say. I think maybe jumping the gun a little bit too quickly there. Maybe jumping the gun a little bit too quickly there. In terms of that. But I don't know, man. Like I say, I feel like every now and again a player does need to be dropped just to give them a bit of a kick up the backside, maybe to give them a bit of a rest, a bit of out the spotlight time kind of thing. I don't want any player, regardless of what wage you're on, regardless of who you are, regardless of your track, of your history, your record, whatever, to think that they have a nailed on, set in stone place in the team. I don't want anybody to think that, regardless of who you are. I said that a couple of weeks ago, and someone argued with me saying you can't drop Salah because of his wage packet. Liverpool have dug themselves into a hole. Name me another team that drops their best player or their most expensive player to accommodate for the team. And I said, I know that it's not exactly like it's a common thing, but it can happen and it should happen. Nobody, and I mean nobody, should have a nailed on a spot in this team. You should always be fearful that your spot can be taken. And I think for the first time in a long, long time, Mo Salah's starting to realize that. And it's not just because of his age that he's probably realizing it. And that's good. Because maybe that is the motivation that Salah needs to kind of get back to what he used to be. Maybe it's the realization as well that what we've all been crying out for this season, Mo Salah is not the main man at Liverpool anymore. And that's a good thing because we don't need to fully rely on Salah. Last season, it was like if Salah doesn't do anything, we're kind of relying on the likes of Cody Gakpo or Luis Diaz or like Szoboszlai or McAllister to do something. And whilst they are great players, they're not exactly the most reliable or consistent to produce something week after week after week. Mo Salah was, and that's why he was seen as that guy. And that's why when most of the time when teams would double up on him and try and neutralize him, it was like, if we take our chances on neutralizing Salah, they have other great players, but the more likely outcome is that Salah's going to produce something more than the others. So we'll take our chances on the others whilst fully focusing on Salah at times. That's what it felt like to me anyway. But maybe now that Salah's had a game out, maybe now Salah's seen what we've seen, maybe that might be the realization that, oh, I'm not the main man anymore. But that doesn't mean he can't contribute. That doesn't mean that he can't be like, okay, I'll still produce things. I'll score on the odd occasion. But I can be more of a creator now. And for me, that's all he needs to be. Just out on that wing, creating opportunities, playing in Wirtz, playing in Isak, playing in Ekitike, whoever it may be. Doesn't need to be greedy. Doesn't need to try and steal the spotlight every single time. Just go out there and be Mo Salah. Just go out there, get the ball, and just play your natural game. Play your natural game. Work with the team. And it will complement the team greatly. I'm hoping that will be the case. What did you make of Paqueta, who went on X complaining about people accusing him of getting a red card on purpose after he was acquitted of such long-term allegations by the FA? I made a bit of a joke about that at the beginning of the stream. I did say that maybe that was the case. But no, look, I understand where he's coming from. I obviously don't know the ins and outs of it in terms of, does the FA provide help for this kind of thing mentally? I don't know if they do or not. It doesn't seem like he's received much help since the allegations were made against him. But it was such a bizarre red card that you couldn't help but not think of that. Because it was a nothing sort of incident. It was the kind of incident that you see happen on the pitch every game, at least once or twice. You know, it was a foul on Szoboszlai, I believe. He goes over, referee blows up. It's a free kick. You move on. But he gets a yellow card, and then he is arguing, and he's arguing, and he's arguing, and he's arguing. And 3 of his own players try to move him away, but he still argues. Even Alisson Becker comes over from the Liverpool goal to try and move him away. Fellow countryman, of course, which explains the link between the goalkeeper and the playmaker there. But even he tries to kind of calm things down. And yet Paqueta is still going on and on and on and on. And it's like, bro, why are you that angry? I understand that maybe you didn't have a lot of you had a lot of built frustration from the game with your teammates, with how things were going for you. But at the same time, in saying all of that, like, come on, man, there was still about over 10 minutes to go. Liverpool were only 1-0 up at that point. You could have got back into the game at any moment. You could have maybe had a good opportunity later on in the game to score. You know, something along them lines. The game wasn't completely dead and buried, and yet you decided to make it worse for your team by getting sent off in what was one of the most bizarre red cards we've seen. A stupid moment from Paqueta. You brought it on yourself. I'm sorry, but you brought it on yourself. In a week in which, like I said earlier, we've seen already a bizarre red card occur in the Everton-Manchester United game. There was another bizarre red card yesterday in the Liverpool-West Ham game. Paqueta, for me, Jesus Christ, man. What are you playing at? What are you playing at? What he did genuinely made no sense. There was just no need. There was just genuinely no need to do that. I don't know why he did it. I couldn't honestly say why he did it. He was just angry and kept on going on and on at the referee for a good few minutes. I've got no idea, bro. But when these allegations are thrown at you and when you do stupid things like this, people are going to throw these conspiracies out there. Look at, even though it's like 13 years old, look at the Joey Barton red card in the Man City QPR game that saw the most iconic Premier League moment ever occur with Aguero. People still have conspiracies about that game. Man United fans, obviously, they have conspiracies about that game. Barton getting sent off, used to play for Man United, Manchester City. QPR, knowing that when they were safe, deciding to kick the ball straight back to Manchester City from kickoff. People still have conspiracies about that game. And when things like this happen, they have conspiracies about this as well. They're going to obviously say that maybe Paqueta did plan on getting sent off in this game. Check his betting history. There were always going to be things like this. So, yeah, it was just a stupid red card, and he's obviously screwed himself and screwed his team over, not just once but twice. Like I say, there was an opportunity to get back into the game with about 10-15 minutes or so remaining. He stopped his team from maybe doing that with him getting sent off and putting his team down to 10 men. He's also screwed his team over later on in the week because they go to Old Trafford to face Manchester United and he's not going to be available through suspension. So he screwed himself and his team over twice there. That's on him. I think the red card was not justified. Let players complain a little bit. Sticks and stones, it's just words. A red for disgruntled players is too much, in my opinion. I agree with you that you can show a bit of frustration because in the moment, we all do. We all show frustration. But in Paqueta's case, it seemed to just go on a little bit too long than the average. Come on, man. Are you being serious? That kind of reaction. in that moment, I feel like if you just go, come on, are you being serious? What's that all about? That's fine. But if you go on and on like he did, I feel like there has to be a cut-off point. Otherwise, you're not getting on with the game. And at that moment, I feel like the referee got completely fed up and just went, I'll make an example out of you. Which is fine. But the issue I'm going to have with it, and I just know it's going to be an issue, is that not all referees will probably hold that to the same standard and same regard. I can probably see sometime later on this week, another player will complain at a referee. They'll go on and on and on about it. Probably Bruno Fernandes or someone, because Bruno likes a whinge at the referee. And the referee will simply take it. Or he will just simply just go shut the whatever up and try and move on. Referees will implement this inconsistently. That's where I have a slight bit of sympathy. But for the most part, I'm okay with what you're talking about, ref. That's insane. That's not a foul. That's not this. That's not that. But to constantly persist with it, that's where I think it becomes a problem. And that's where it became a problem for this ref in particular. Big up the Liverpool board for not being whimsical and sacking Slot too soon. It's only one game, bro. That's the only thing I will say. It's only one game. Let's not try and jump the gun here. Let's not try and get ahead of ourselves. Let's not try and do that. That's all I will say. Liverpool is like a balloon, but Salah is a rock, and Liverpool is attached to it. I mean, you're entitled to your own opinion, bro. I'm not. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think that is the case, but you're entitled to your own opinion. Took a lot of weeks of troubleshooting, problems found. Salah, come on, bro. We know that's not the problem. If Salah was the problem, then why did we lose to Galatasaray with Salah not starting? Because Salah didn't start in that game and we lost. If Salah's the problem, how come Salah started against Real Madrid and we won? If Salah's the problem, how come we won against Aston Villa with Salah playing? I keep saying to people, if you can't be you can't be so focused on trying to scapegoat. You can't be so focused on trying to pin it all on one or maybe even two players. This is an overall team thing. It's an overall manager thing. Everybody has to take some level of responsibility, some more than others. But to say that this was down to Salah because he was dropped yesterday is completely ridiculous. Salah wasn't dropped when we beat and dominated against Real Madrid. Salah wasn't dropped when we beat and dominated Aston Villa. Salah was dropped against Galatasaray and we lost. So, we can all play those kinds of games. It just doesn't make sense to me. It just does not make sense to me. Because Ekatike was dropped yesterday. Ekatike was dropped in favour of Isak. Does that mean Ekatike was also the problem? According to that logic, probably. Bit harsh, perhaps. Yeah, I think it's a bit harsh. I don't know if Ekatike can lace Isak. As I keep saying, Ekatike is just a slightly rougher version of Isak. Isak is a more polished version of Ekatike. That's just my observations from seeing both players anyway. Ekatike's got a bit more skill and flair to his game. He's got a bit more mobility to his game, but Isak's the more deadly finisher. And Ekitike can get to Isak's level. It's going to take a bit of time, bit of work, but there's no doubt about it that Ekitike can get to Isak's level. I just don't think it's quite there yet. But they are two strikers that play slightly differently, that have got different attributes about them that I think can accommodate for certain scenarios and certain situations that Liverpool find themselves in. Are you drinking Iron Brew? No, don't drink that stuff. I don't drink that stuff. I am harsh, but not harsh as Spurs fans were to Vicario. The Vicario thing, it was certainly something. It was certainly something this past weekend. I don't know what he's doing in that position in the first place. Spurs just making mistakes. And again, that is the sign of a team that's low on confidence. Hence why we were making a lot of mistakes. Because we're low on confidence. But no, it can be turned around. And like I say, I'm a big fan of Thomas Frank. So I think he can. And I think he will turn it around eventually. Sirens outside. Are you at large? Not for me, bro. Not for me. They've not got me yet. What are the allegations with Aguero? Fill me in. Oh, so basically, Man United fans believe that QPR threw the game on purpose against Manchester City for City to win the league. Man United fans are fully under the impression that that QPR lost the game on purpose because no one likes Man United and they wanted a different Premier League winner. And obviously Man City only needed a win to secure the Premier League title. QPR simultaneously needed to obviously keep an eye on scores elsewhere to stay up. And what happened is that ex-Manchester City player Joey Barton got sent off for a stupid moment. If we're on a theme of stupid red cards, then Joey Barton got sent off for a stupid red card. I think he was trying to fight Carlos Tevez, I think, if I remember correctly. There was actually a case that maybe Tevez could have actually got sent off in that moment as well. That, again, United fans point at and say, that could have also been something that the referees and officials should have looked at on the day. And then what happened is that QPR actually went 2-1 up until like the 92nd minute or something. And then it was revealed in injury time that the final whistle had gone elsewhere. QPR had survived in the Premier League. They were officially going to stay up in the Premier League. It was still 2-1 to QPR at the time. There was a corner about to be taken that Edin Dzeko scored from. But at the time, QPR had just received word. Everybody in the ground had just received word that QPR had survived in the Premier League. They were up, regardless of whatever the result was going to go. QPR had survived. 10 men QPR were defending a corner against Manchester City, who were chasing the Premier League title. The final whistle had just gone as well at the game between Manchester United and Sunderland. United had won 1-0 thanks to a goal from Wayne Rooney. And Edin Dzeko had just equalised 2-2 for Manchester City. what happened in the kickoff of that game for QPR was that they took kickoff and just kicked it straight back to Man City. They took kickoff and they booted it long, and no one chased it from QPR, and they just gave it back to Man City for possession of the ball. There was still a few minutes of play left. And the rest, as they say, is history. But Man United fans go on this conspiracy rant that, Carlos Tevez might have been sent off as well in that Joey Barton incident. Joey Barton, an ex-Manchester City player, conveniently is the one to get sent off, even though, of course, it's Joey Barton and he's a complete prick. He was the one to get sent off in that game. And, of course, then you have the conspiracy that QPR, once knowing that they were safe and sound in the Premier League, once knowing that no matter the result, they were going to be safe in the Premier League regardless, decided to throw the game away by just going, here's the ball, Man City. Go and score that third goal. Make it the most iconic Premier League moment imaginable and take that title away from Manchester United. Those are the sort of conspiracies and allegations of the final day of the season of the 2011-2012 Premier League campaign. It was absolutely phenomenal, and United fans are still bitter over it right the way through to this day. So there's your kind of history lesson for the day, guys. There's your kind of history lesson for the day. But yeah, absolute madness. Thoughts on Arsenal not being able to beat 10-men Chelsea? Prem wide open now between Arsenal, City and Chelsea. Can Liverpool sneak back in? No, Liverpool I don't think can sneak back in. I think Liverpool have to put their eggs in other baskets, mainly the FA Cup and, of course, the Champions League. But as for the game yesterday, look, I thought Chelsea were very, very good in the game. I actually feel that if Caicedo stays on the pitch, I feel like if Caicedo doesn't go a bit over the top and get himself sent off, I think that Chelsea probably go on to win that game because they were very, very good. Arsenal, rather lackluster, in my opinion. You can't base it off of injuries and all of that stuff because Arsenal fans have been waxing lyrical about how great their squad depth is, how amazing their squad depth is. So if you're going to turn around now and go, oh, but we didn't have Saliba and we didn't have Gabriel. Well, I'm sorry, but that's what your squad depth is for. That's what your squad depth is for. That's what all that squad depth that you had, that you praised, that you loved so much and was saying is the best in the Premier League. That's what that's for. So don't turn around now and say, oh, well, the only reason why we dropped points was because we didn't have this player and that player. You weren't very good yesterday. You were poor yesterday. You got back into it by a moment of brilliance from Bukayo Saka. Great. I thought Reece James was immense. I think he was the best player on the pitch by a million miles. I feel like it was a slight missed opportunity for Chelsea that they didn't maybe go for the kill. But like I say, I think that maybe they can have Moises Caicedo to thank for that because him getting sent off was a little stupid. Like I said, I think with 11 men, Chelsea win that game. And I think if that was the case, that really would have thrown the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of the title race. As it so happens, life goes on. We are pretty much where we were at the beginning of the weekend. Arsenal still clear. City, and if you want to throw Liverpool in there, they close the gap on Arsenal. Liverpool are still way, way, way behind. But at least City close the gap. I feel like City will be kicking themselves for obviously losing to Newcastle the previous week, because it could have been a lot better for them. But I think Chelsea could have made a bigger statement, but I think they still made a statement that they're here to stay. I think they made a statement that maybe they are a lot further along than what a lot of people, including myself a little bit, gave them credit for, because they have a good squad. They do have a good squad. But they just lack in certain areas. They just lack quality, or they lack depth in certain areas. Still think they need... I know that is slightly improved this season, but I still think they do need a new goalkeeper. Their centre-backs, as much as they have depth, I think they lack experience and quality. And their wingers, I know Esteval is amazing. I know he's absolutely incredible. But I do think their wingers at times lack a bit of output. Garnacho looked okay yesterday when coming on. But again, it's about output. And I don't think he's got it in a great abundance. I don't think any of their wingers have got great output and great abundance, to be honest. So I do think they're lacking in certain areas, Chelsea. I don't think they've got enough about them to win the league. So I don't think there's any danger in maybe putting blue ribbons on the Premier League title at the end of the season. But as far as what the title race is concerned, look, City for me, I know Haaland blanked at the weekend, but you can kind of get away with that against Leeds. And, you know, they just about got away with it against Leeds. They absolutely bottled it from two goals up to 2-2. They bottled it in that regard. But they got away with it. Phil Foden turned up for the first time in a Premier League capacity for a long, long time. Haaland blanked, and that's been my biggest worry for City, is that they've been very one-dimensional. Again, against a team like Leeds, you can get away with it. But if that was if that was a team that had a bit more about them, if that's an Aston Villa, if that's a Newcastle, if that's a Chelsea, if that's even a Spurs to an extent, we all know how much of a bogey side Spurs can be for Manchester City. You know, they don't get away with it. They don't get away with that. They probably end up dropping points in that game. So I think City are a bit one-dimensional, which is why I don't back them to topple Arsenal right now. I think Arsenal can look back at that and go, you know what? Away from home at Stamford Bridge, you can be somewhat annoyed that your team didn't show more, especially with the opportunity presented itself with Caicedo's red card. But against an emotional Chelsea team that had Reece James in unbelievable form, that had the entire team simply chomping at the bit to prove a point against this Arsenal side, I think getting away with that draw is something that they can be not completely happy with, but something that I think suits them down to the ground. I think it does. And I go back to last year with Liverpool. There were certain games with Liverpool last year where I wasn't exactly happy coming away with just a point, but it was one of those games and one of those moments where I could look back and go, you know what? I would rather have taken 3 points, obviously. But getting a point in certain tough games, that to me is something you can cling on to. something that you can cling on to and go, you know what? It's not 3 points, but it could prove to be a valuable point come the end of the season. And games last season against the likes of Newcastle at St. James's Park, for example, really tough game. I know we kind of bottled it in the final few minutes. Kelleher with a poor mistake, but not many teams go to St. James's Park and get wins there or take points. So that could have been seen as a missed opportunity, but also a very good point, to say the least. Even against Arsenal themselves, I can't remember if it was home. I think it was away. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first game we played was away. Away from home, the first time we played Arsenal, 2-2 draw. Big point there. You've got to strategically plan because you're not going to win every game, but if you strategically plan when you're going to pick up points rather than 3 points, that will help you in a long way to building a Premier League title winning team. So I don't think it was like the best result for Arsenal, but it was a decent one. It was a decent result. Given the emotion of the game, given what was going into it and everything, good point. Good point, in my opinion. Liverpool are 9 points behind. I've seen stranger things happen. I have seen 10 points coming from behind in February, March. Yeah, you've seen stranger things. Season 5. No, sorry. How dare you? I know what you mean. Look, I know. I know we're not out of it until we're out of it. I get that. We're not out of it until it's mathematically impossible or whatever. But if at the end of this month, Liverpool go on an unbeaten run in which we win all of our games, because let's face it, with the exception of maybe Arsenal, we've got some very favourable games coming up, right? If, say, for example, we win our games in December, we somehow beat Arsenal. And take 3 points off of them, then maybe I will reconsider my stance on Liverpool's title challenge. Maybe. But the likelihood of us doing that, as of right now, pretty slim. So I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's extremely unlikely. And I think that Liverpool, whilst we should be looking at obviously getting a top 4/top 5 finish, we should be putting our eggs in the Champions League and FA Cup baskets. That's where we should be putting our eggs. Since Haaland started vlogging, he's been missing sitters. I mean, he still had an unbelievable start to the campaign, to be fair. But yeah, you're right. By his standards, he's had an absolute shocking week. He blanked against Newcastle. He blanked against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League. And he's now blanked against Leeds at the weekend. I've got to say, there were probably a lot of angry fantasy football managers as well that had triple captained Haaland this past weekend, thinking that it was going to be an absolute massacre and a bloodbath, that Haaland was going to feast upon Leeds United. And that triple captainship, or even just the captain armband in general, was probably misplaced. I know that I, for one, captained him, and I'm looking at Igor Thiago of Brentford and going, why didn't I put the captain's armband on you? But yeah, that's just the magic of Football Manager, I guess. I think that maybe it was just too obvious. Maybe Haaland being triple captain and captain in general was just too obvious this weekend, and that's why nothing happened when it came to Erling Haaland against Leeds United. But I digress. If Arsenal can win Villa away on Saturday, they really solidify themselves as favourites. I mean, they already are solidified as favourites, in my personal opinion, and I think with most bookmakers as well. I think if they were to win yesterday, that would have been it. In my opinion, that would have just been it. They would have won the league. That's it. If they'd have beat Chelsea yesterday, gone. This does throw a little bit more uncertainty, but not by a lot. Not by a lot. This is still Arsenal's to lose. They are still in a very good position. I hope they bottle it because it will be funny. It would just be absolutely hilarious if they did bottle it again. But I'm under the impression that this is probably going to be the year they don't. This is probably going to be the year that they don't. And we all just have to come to terms with that. All right, big up to you, my friend. Lovely to have you here. Hope you're doing well on this Monday morning. He says that I think Arsenal will bottle it. I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right. I hope you're right in terms of it makes it an interesting Premier League title race than what it's turning out to be so far. And I hope you're right in the fact that I don't really want any of these Arsenal fans, the really obnoxious and really annoying ones, to taste success. I don't want them to. And I don't want them to taste success on a major scale as well, because they're already unbearable and they've not won anything. They've not won a Premier League title in over 20 years. They haven't won anything in about 5 years. And they're already annoying as hell. So if you add success to how annoying they already are, they're going to become even more annoying. So I hope you are right. But we shall see. Rounding off then, a good win for Liverpool, but still a lot of work to be done. Coming up this week, Sunderland, midweek, 3rd of December, Wednesday. Massive game between the Reds and the Black Cats there. Then at the weekend, Leeds United. Massive game there as well. Massive game there between Newcastle. Between Liverpool and Leeds. Leeds, of course, almost caused a major upset this weekend with how they came back and fought back against Manchester City. Almost caused an upset, but City managed to hold very strong for the win. Sunderland, brilliant start to the season and a brilliant win at the weekend, beating Bournemouth by 3-2 after initially finding themselves 2-0 down in the first half. The Sunderland game is going to be tough. The Sunderland game is going to be very, very, very tough. We've already seen Arsenal drop points against Sunderland this season, so we should not be taking this game for granted whatsoever. I'm just double checking something here. The only upside is that it's at Anfield. Now, recently, Anfield hasn't exactly been too kind to us, but under the lights, a 8:15 game on Wednesday, it might just be enough, you know? it might just be enough to see us get across that finish line. It might be okay for us on that day to get something. Right now, if you were to ask me for predictions, I think we end up getting 4 points this week. I think we draw to Sunderland, and I think we win against Leeds. That's my honest prediction. I could see us beating Sunderland. I could. And it's mad that I'm even saying that, considering that this is a team that were champions of England last season and, of course, have spent 450 million in the summer. But that's obviously a statement to how our season's gone so far. I could see us beating Sunderland purely based on the fact that is that Sunderland team prepared for 2 games a week? The games coming thick and fast, the intensity of the Premier League, that kind of thing. But I think with the experience they've got and with the way that they've played this season so far, I think Sunderland can get something against us. I genuinely do. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we end up getting the 3 points. But I can see it happening where Sunderland gets something from the game at least. But against Leeds, that's more of a favourable opportunity. And that's where I think we can get 3 points. So I'm going with 4 points from possible 6 this week. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling. This seems like a good opportunity to end it here. We're just going to go through the last few comments. Marco says, Premier League back already tomorrow. Newcastle Spurs. That's going to be a very interesting game as well. They already met earlier on this season in the Carabao Cup. Newcastle were victorious there. Newcastle on a bit of a roll recently as well. A massive win at the weekend against Everton. Nick Volta made a scoring again. The likes of Malik Thiaw and Lewis Hall having great games for Newcastle and the Magpies there. So massive game there, and obviously the pressure is growing on Thomas Frank and Spurs. We shall see how that goes. Too bad there is no fun on AFTV to watch the meltdown if they do bottle it. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched AFTV in years. I have not watched AFTV in years. I don't even know who's on it anymore. And I think there's only like Ty. That's like one of the originals. I don't know. I don't even know if he's still on it, to be fair. Yeah, I've not watched AFTV in a long time. Man City Arsenal title race. Big up to you, my bro. Big up to you, bro. Lovely that you're here. Hope you're doing well on this Monday morning. Man City title race with Arsenal does seem likely. I don't know if you want to throw Chelsea in the mix, though. I feel like you can. I don't think they will win it, but I feel like you can at least for a title race. If Liverpool want to become an elite team again, they need to sell Salah and get a player who can press with intensity. I think a different type of winger is needed for when Salah does move on, but to simply say that they need to sell Salah, I think is a little bit extreme. Ajax yesterday, the fans went so mad with fireworks. It looked like New Year's Eve. Match got called off after 6 minutes. Full stadium had to go home. Man, I didn't even know that. I wasn't fully aware of what had happened in the Eredivisie yesterday. I had no idea. Draw to Sunderland, easy win, 5-0. No. If you're saying Liverpool win 5-0, I think even the most diehard Liverpool fan, even myself, is not saying 5-0 to Liverpool. Even the most deluded of Liverpool fans is probably not even saying 5-0 to Liverpool. I mean, I hope you're saying 5-0 to Liverpool and not 5-0 to Sunderland. I mean, I'm hoping that's the case there, but no, I think Sunderland will probably get something. I don't want them to. I just want to throw that out there right now. I don't want them to get anything from this game. Of course I don't. But I think Sunderland will. I hope Liverpool win, of course. I really do hope Liverpool win. But it is what it is. I want Liverpool to win. I don't know. Sunderland have been very, very good this season. They've been very, very good this season. Like I said, I think they've been a lot better than what a lot of people gave them credit for. Everything that they've gone through with the whole transfer business, adapting from the Championship to the Premier League, it has worked very, very well for them so far. And fair play to them if it continues. Fair play to them if that continues. But I can't see it being as one-sided as what you're saying. Whether it is for or against Liverpool, I can't honestly see it being that one-sided, my bro. With all due respect. Guys, thank you all so much for being here with me on this Monday morning. Do me a favor, don't forget to like the video on the way out and subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Appreciate each and every single one of you for being here on this Monday morning. We've got a lot of stuff to do this week, a lot of stuff as the Premier League continues. The games come thick and fast, and of course we have midweek games to encounter this week. So there'll be a couple of Premier League predictions videos out. There'll be plenty of reaction to obviously what has occurred with Liverpool and things like that. So please do stick around for all of that stuff and more going forward. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you. Final comment here from Marco. He says you don't rate Sunderland, so I'm guessing he was going for a 5-0 Liverpool win. I would absolutely love and adore that if that came true. You'd probably get a few quid if you put a bet on that for tomorrow, for Wednesday's game. 5-0, mark my words. Fair enough, my dude. Fair enough. You probably get, like I say, you probably get a fair few quid if you stuck a nice bet on that. I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah, I wish I had that kind of optimism and going into this, but unfortunately, I don't. I genuinely don't, in all honesty. If you're genuine, bro, we will be back here, and I will genuinely apologize. I'll eat those words, and I will praise your infinite wisdom if that is the case. But until then, we shall wait and see. Thanks, guys. Really do appreciate each and every single one of you being here. Hope you have a good day, and I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Take care. See you all again very, very soon.